Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Scream 4 as we get closer. Oh, so close. I'm seeing it just a few short hours closer to the new Scream film. We've been running through the entire franchise here on the channel, so if you haven't watched my reviews of Scream 1, 2, and 3, make sure you go check those out. Those are a good time. You might even get some funny, awful, terrible, god-awful impressions. Now, let's dive into Scream 4. Scream 4 is kind of almost like a redheaded stepchild to the franchise, it feels like, because it came 10 years after the franchise wrapped up. But everyone came back. Wes Craven came back. Kevin Williamson came back, who was not really a part of Scream 3. You got the three remaining cast members coming back, returning to Woodsboro. Like, this felt like a revitalization of the Scream franchise. And to me, I was 12 years old when this film came out, and I was already a complete horror junkie. I know that might be weird, but I was about 5 years old when I watched Freddy vs. Jason, and I was hooked ever since. Does that make me a sociopath? Maybe, but we don't blame the movies. If we've learned anything from Scream, is we don't blame the movies. But anyway, Scream 4 came out in 2011. I saw this puppy 4 times. Scream 4, I saw it 4 times in theater. This is the first time I'd seen a movie more than once in the theater. I was obsessed with this film. I thought it was great. Rewatching it now, I don't think it's as great as I thought back then, but I still think it's really good, and a lot of people dog on Scream 4, and I don't think that's warranted, because I think this is a very good entry in the franchise. Nowhere close to the worst. I think this is a very good, and this was supposed to set up a new Scream trilogy, and if it did, I would have been totally fine with that, because I like where it ended. I'm curious to see what parts of this film they use in the upcoming new Scream film, so I'm curious to see how that works, how it all ties in together, because this kind of does feel like it's a little outside of the other ones. You know, everyone's a little older, and now 10 years, 11 years later, we're getting another Scream film. So it's like every 11 years, we get a Scream film. Here in about, we'll get Scream 6, and then 11 years after that, we'll get like Scream in the retirement home where Ghostface is walking after them with a walker. But nonetheless, this film brings some new additions as well, like Emma Stone, who I always liked as a kid, maybe because she's kind of cute, but now that I know she's batshit crazy, she's even cuter. Hayden Panettiere joins the cast in this one as Kirby, who is one of the most fan favorite, cast members, characters in the Scream universe, so much so that people have been clamoring for her to return to the franchise because they never show her dead, technically. So people were even clamoring for her to be in the new Scream movie. She's not, at least I don't think she is. Maybe we get a surprise cameo, I doubt it, but maybe. But people love her, and I do too, because she's great. Also joining them is Rory Culkin. Yes, that's right, Macaulay little brother, Rory. Macaulay, of course, became famous from Home Alone. Rory, this is the first thing I'd seen him in. I didn't even know there were other Culkins. But he did this, and then he did things like Waco and a bunch of other things. And, of course, Kiernan is over on Succession. So the Culkin boys are tearing it up on screen and off. And just the twist of this film, like the film's laid out very similar to the original, and that's what was happening in the early 2010s. There were a lot of reboots that were kind of just remakes of the original. You know, we got Star Wars, Force Awakens, the terrible Ghostbusters thing. I mean, those were a few years later, but same concept applies to this movie. And I thought it worked really well. You know, they updated it because YouTube was just blowing up at the time. This wonderful website, YouTube, just blowing up at the time. So, of course, Randy Mercer's live streaming his whole life. It updated for the times, and it looks like the new Scream's doing that too. And Scream 4 did it first, and I thought that was really cool. But a lot of people just didn't like how it went down. I did, it made you feel like the main characters were actually in danger when Gail got stabbed in the barn, when Sidney gets stabbed twice in the stomach in one of the big final battles. It made you feel like, oh god, like these main characters could bite it in this one, kind of like a Han Solo and Force Awakens situation. And there are so many red herrings in this film, like Jill's boyfriend, big red herring. The deputy under Dewey, huge red herring. She's creepy as shit for 3/4 of the film, and she's clearly a little obsessed with Sidney, so she's a big red herring. And then it turns out that it's Jill and Rory Culkin all along, and Rory was a little creepy throughout the film, the looks he was giving people, but Jill I would have never guessed, even now if I watched it for the first time, to be the killer. And my fiance's never seen the film, and she watched it with me for the first time last night. She didn't guess Jill. She guessed Rory Culkin's character when he storms off towards the big reveal, but she didn't guess Jill, and it's a big surprise. One of the best reveals in the Scream franchise next to the first film. I really like Scream 4. I like everything it did. There is some goofy things, like Anthony Anderson's death scene's a little bit too goofy, even for Scream. But other than that, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a great addition to the franchise, and it was Wes Craven's last feature film. So it's like, quit ragging on it, people. The only thing I'm worried about is I think Scream, the new one, is kind of going to tread on some similar ground. Like, it's going to be another 10 years later, all the cast members come back a little older in Woodsboro, the new cast of characters. I'm sure there's going to be lots of different stuff because the trailers look amazing and very different from Scream 4, but I'm just worried it's going to tread some similar ground, and Scream 4 did it first. Scream 4 gets an 8 out of 10 here on the channel. Not the worst in the franchise, but not the best either, but a damn good addition in my opinion. Let me know what you thought of Scream 4 down in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel before the review for Scream comes out, because man, oh man, I'm going to be gushing about that. I hope it's great, but if it's terrible, I'll tell you. I don't sugarcoat things here on this channel, folks. I do not, even when it's my favorite franchise. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys right here next time.